Hi, in this tutorial we're going to make this Happy Mother's Day graphic, and we're going to do it all with things that are available in Photoshop Elements. So let's get started. Okay, I have a new file opened here. It's 12 by 12. I'm going to start with some type. So I'll get my type tool, and I'm going to type Happy Mother's Day, but I want all three of those words on different layers. So I'll just click up here and type Happy. Click the check mark, get the type tool, click down here and type Mothers. Click the check mark. Get my type tool again and type down here, Day. Now I like that font. I've got Bodoni 72 small caps book. I like that for Happy and Day. I want Mothers to be more of a script font. So I'm going to click that check mark. Let's select Mothers. I can change that font by just clicking on this arrow. And that will give me a list of all the fonts that are available on my computer. Or I can just select the type right there and then use my arrow keys, up and down arrow keys, to toggle or scroll through the different fonts that I have available on my computer. And I like that one right there, Bickham Script Pro. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. I can do that by just putting my cursor over the word size. It turns into a hand with double-headed arrow. If I drag to the right, it'll make that type bigger. I'm just going to visually get it about the size I want, maybe something like that. Click the check mark. I want to rotate that type just a little bit. These squares around the edges are called handles. If you come up here to the corner, your cursor turns into a double-headed curved arrow. Just click and drag to rotate that. I'm going to go something about like that. Click the check mark. Let's center that a little bit. Now I can move these around independently because they're on separate layers. Let's go something like that. And the word day, let's bring that up here. I want to bring in a little scroll shape right here under the word Mothers. So let's go over here to our Shapes panel. Let's find a scroll that'll work. I'm going to use this scroll right here, so I'm just going to click and drag it over into my artwork. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. If I pull on these corner handles, it will enlarge it proportionately. But if I just click on one of these center handles, it'll just stretch it out. So I'm just going to pull on those handles and make it the size that I want and put it in the position where I want it. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. Click the check mark. Most mothers like flowers, so let's bring in a flower. Let's go back to our graphics panel. You can use any of these flowers you want. I like this one, and I like the pink color. Let's bring that in. Make it a little bit bigger. Click the check mark. I'm going to copy that just by clicking on Command J or Control J. Will duplicate this layer. Now I have two of them. I can slide one down. And just so that they don't look like it's an exact copy, I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Coming up here in the corner, just rotating it just around something like that. Click the check mark. Now I want to put a background behind it. I'm going to use the shape tool. I'm going to use a square or the rectangle. I've got the rectangle tool already right there. Let's go over here and click on the background. So it's going to make a new layer right above the background layer. I'm going to just click and drag something like that. Perfect. Now I want to get a pink color. I'm going to get the pink color out of these flowers. So double click on your foreground color. And then when you move your cursor into your artwork, it turns into an eyedropper. I'm just going to click on one of these pink colors. Okay, we got a pink color right there. I like that. Click OK. Now get the paint bucket and just click on that shape and it'll paint that the same color as those flowers. I want to duplicate that layer, so Command J or Control J if you're on a PC will make a duplicate of that layer. I want to change the color of that duplicate layer. So let's double click on the foreground color to open the color picker. And let's pick a lighter blue color. Yeah, something like that. Click OK. We've got the paint bucket. Click in our shape. Now we've got a blue background. Now I want to rotate those backgrounds just a little bit. Let's click on the move tool to get off our paint bucket. Hit Command T or Control T if you're on a PC to bring up those handles. Move the cursor up into the corner and it turns into a double-headed curved arrow. Just click and drag to rotate that around just a little bit. Click the check mark. It'll turn our live shape into a regular path. That's okay. Okay, now I want to do the same thing with our other shape. So let's select that layer, Command T or Control T, but I'm going to go the other direction. Just a little bit. Something like that. Click the check mark. Yep, that's fine. Okay, I want to color the word mothers this same pink color. I'm good with happy and day being in black, but I want mothers and maybe this scroll to be in the pink color. Let's go ahead and go back to our foreground color. Double click on that. Let's select that pink color again. Click OK. Double click on the mothers layer to select the word mother. And I want this color. And click the check mark. Perfect. Now I want to do the same thing with the scrolls. So let's select the layer that has the scrolls. That's shape 1. Get our paint bucket. We'll just click right on there and it'll color that scroll the same color. Perfect. Now I want to put some layer styles on that. So let's start with the word mothers. Select the mothers layer. Come up under layer, layer style, style settings. Let's give it a little bit of a stroke. I'm just going to visually get to where I like it. I like 10. I think 10 is good. Let's give it a little bit of a bevel. This gives it an embossed effect or a little bit of a raised effect. Let's look at glow. Let's see what inner glow does. Yeah, we can use that. Let's give it a drop shadow as well. Distance determines the distance away from our word it is, and size determines how hard or soft the shadow is. Let's make it about, we don't want it real hard. Make it about like that. We want to turn this dial so that our angle's coming from the upper left. I like my shadow coming from the upper left. That puts the shadow down here on the lower right. Let's make it just a little bit darker so we can see it. Okay, I like that. Let's click OK. Now we can just copy that to our scroll because I want that same effect to be on our scroll. Hold down the Option if you're on a Mac or the Alt if you're on a PC. Click and hold the mouse button down and drag that FX up to our scroll layer. And it copies that layer style to that layer. Let's do the same thing to the word happy and day. Hold down the Option or the Alt on a PC. Let's drag it up to day. And we'll drag it down to happy. But I don't want the emboss effect or the glow on those. So let's double click on that FX. Let's turn off the glow. Let's turn off the bevel. Let's turn off the stroke. I just want the shadow, basically. Click OK. I probably should have just started from scratch on the layer styles for happy and day. But now that I've got it the way I want it for happy, let's go ahead and copy that to the word day. Let's throw away our FX that's on the word day, and let's copy, hold down the Option on the Mac or Alt on the PC, and copy the FX from happy to our day layer. Now happy and day are the same. Perfect. I like that. I want the word mothers to be right on top, so let's grab that layer, click and hold, and drag that layer up. And when you see the line between the layers get thick and dark and black, drop it right there. So we'll just drop it right at the top. Now it's on the top of everything. Let's do the same thing with happy. Let's grab it and drag it right up so that it's on top of those flowers. I don't know that I like that. Let's take it back down. Maybe let's just slide it over a little bit more. Get the move tool. We'll just slide the word happy over. Oh, we're great getting mother. Command Z or Control Z to undo that. Make sure we're on happy. Let's use the arrow keys. That'll move it. What we could also do is come up here under the word mothers, select mothers, and put the lock on it. Now if we select happy, we should be able to move happy around. I'm going to use the arrow keys just to nudge it over a little bit more. I like the way this part of the M is going up between those two P's. Let's just make those flowers just a little bit smaller. Command T or Control T. It's okay to hide a little bit of that H, but I don't want to hide a lot of that H. Just go something like that. Click the check mark. Okay, let's put a layer effect on our backgrounds here. I can use the same layer effect that I have on the word mothers. So let's just hold down the Option or the Alt and copy that FX down to both of those layers. And I like that. Let's bring in a daisy. I like these daisies. Let's make it just a little bit smaller. Let's click the check mark. I'm going to copy that twice. Command J or Control J if you're on a PC to make 2 copies. And I'm just going to move them around just a little bit. Let's resize it. I'll make this one a little bit smaller. Click the check mark. Let's grab this one. Move it. Make it a little bit smaller as well. Okay, I like that. Let's move the word mothers all the way up to the top again. Perfect. Let's put a drop shadow on those flowers. Happy only has the drop shadow, so does day. So let's just copy one of those effects. Hold down the Option or the Alt and click on the FX that's on day or happy. Let's drag it up to those flowers. Make sure we copy those effects to all 3 of those daisy layers. That gives it a nice 3D effect. Let's do those other flowers as well. Okay, I like that. I think it's good. Let's save it. Let's go up under File, Save As. Find the folder that you're going to put it in. I'm just going to name it Mother's Day Graphic Final. Because I already did it once as I was preparing for this tutorial, so I'll call this Final. Make sure it's a Photoshop document. That'll save all of those layers. If you ever want to make a change, you can go in and make a change. If you want to make a change tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, you can go in and make those changes because you have those layers. Click Save. Now, in order to be able to use this as a graphic in another document, for example, a scrapbook page or a poster or flyer, anything that you want, you need to have a transparent background. Right now it has the white background, so let's just turn the visibility of this background layer off. Now we have the checkerboard that shows that it's a transparent background. We can crop it just a little bit as well, so it's not quite so big. Hit the crop tool. Make sure you select no restrictions from this menu. Now we can just pull these corners in. We want it to be as small as we can get it, but make sure we don't crop anything out. Click the check mark. Now we can save this as a PNG file. Come up under File, Save As, and it automatically added this edited -1 to the end of it. You can leave that or not, but we want to make sure that we change this to a PNG. PNG file will compress it, but it uses a lossless compression, so you won't lose any quality, even though it's a little bit smaller, and it retains that transparent background. And the PNG file is what you want to use when you bring it into a different document. Click Save. Here you can compress it. Like I said, it's a lossless compression. You can compress it if you want. I just click None and click OK. Now we have a nice Happy Mother's Day graphic, and everything we used is available in Photoshop Elements. So don't forget to hit subscribe. Click on that bell. You'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks. Bye.